Doug White from Model Car Muse. Today I'd like to show you how I sharpen hobby knife blades. From a practical standpoint, starting with a fresh blade each time makes cutting easier. It takes less pressure, so there's less risk of injury or damaging a part, and it makes a cleaner cut. An X-Acto knife has a double beveled blade, meaning that there's an angled part that's sharp on this side, an angled part that's sharp on that side. It also has a point. As long as the blade has a good point, it's a candidate just to be freshened up and resharpened. So what I like to use is an Arkansas stone. It's my favorite for sharpening. It's also a good scale. It's a good size to work with for a number 11 X-Acto blade. There are others. You can get a classic old whetstone. These are some that I got from my grandfather. These are good if you have like large chisels or something, but they also work well for a regular number 11 blade. A little bit of water and it keeps it lubricated so the metal bits don't become embedded in the surface. You can also use oil. I prefer water because it's just easier to clean up and it works for what I've found just as well. And then you don't end up possibly contaminating your paint surfaces or whatever with oil. You're not introducing oil after you make your cut that may still be on your blade to your part. It's better than sandpaper or a file. I know they're popular, but really get a stone. It'll give you the sharpest blade, if not sharper than the one you get from the factory. So what you need is to get a little bit of lubrication on the stone anytime you're sharpening. It keeps all the spent metal from building up, plugging up the abrasive part of the stone. A couple drops, and you're good to go. So I want to get the proper angle. I also want to be able to sharpen from this end right out to the point with the same amount of pressure. So I want to lay it down on the surface, kind of figure out that angle, and then just draw back. I can do it this way. Say 3 to 7 strokes on each side, depending on how much you really need to get it sharp. A couple of those, if you've got a good blade, you're ready to go. But what's important is to get the proper angle that you're grinding at. If you're here, or if you're too far up, or you're too far down, you're really going to not sharpen the working edge. To do that, let's figure out a way that we can determine that angle. Not too scientific, but we'll do both sides here. I'm going to take a marker. I'm going to darken the bevel area. I'm going to try and find that spot. A lot of it's guesswork, but when I get that angle, and if I have my finger down here to hold the distance and remember that, that looks good. I'm just getting the very edge. And try it again, see if I've remembered that spot. I've got my finger down here. There's a steady rest. Cleaning off just that very edge. If I go a little lower, I could probably wipe off all that marker. And another thing is if you're working on your model, you can't see where that tip is. If you color it black, you're working on white or silver, it gives you a little contrast. So you can see where that tip is. So if you're trying to go in there and cut something with the very tip, it's going to give you that little advantage so you can see it better. Okay, this being a double bevel blade, meaning you have to do this side and then this side, try and keep them equal. I do agree with pulling, and I do agree with pushing. I've never really felt that one is better than the other. The one thing I really don't think works well is a lot of people come in a circular motion. Problem with that is it's like a V8 in a rear-wheel drive car. You've got oversteer going in and understeer going out. As you're pulling out, you're really getting more pressure on this edge closer to the handle, less pressure on the point. But then as you're going in, you're getting more pressure on the point. You're not going to get a real even sharpness all the way across. For me, it's not just about saving money. It's about focusing on the project. It's very much a Zen thing in the first 30 seconds when you sit down at your bench. It's an opportunity to think about where you're going. Oh, and the other cool thing about an Arkansas stone, it's small, it's on your bench, it's perfectly smooth and level. I have to admit, I have from time to time used it as a surface plate when I'm gluing parts and then have to clean it up, but it's a pretty cool piece to have around. Follow your muse wherever you may find it, and may there always be a project on your bench. Thanks for watching.